I think.
Jesus.
That's what I've heard today is referred to as a broadcasting banana peel.
Yeah, it's a banana peel.
All right.
Nice. Very nice. Front to back. Leader's garment. Quite happy.
It's alright, isn't it? Looks pretty good in that bad boy.
Excellent, I think the word you're looking for is... Look at that thing. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Beautiful.
Now, only if you're ready for this.
Welcome back to the OTB podcast, the original and still the best New Zealand mountain bike podcast. We are back. It's been a couple of weeks. Man, it's probably been a few weeks, but hey, we've made it. We've had some racing. We decided to have a break and hit these North America World Cups in a bunch. So we're here, co-hosting with me this week, as always, James Rennie, Red Dog. Welcome back to the show.
Great to be here, Kerry, and I'm glad you've mustered up the energy to do this podcast after kicking the Snowshoe one to touch.
You know what? I just didn't have it last week. I wanted to bring my A game and it just wasn't there, so I decided to have some rest and come back in, at 100%.
I've got some theories around why you've taken this blasé attitude, and I'll discuss it with our other co-host.
Excellent. And in the other co-host seat, Chris Vanderkolk. Welcome.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here as always. I consider these sessions as being kind of highlights of my week. So when it didn't happen last week, it was just radio silence on MSA. I was I'm so sorry. It took me a while to get through that, but yeah, lovely to be here, and also special hello to all our listeners because you guys are the lifeblood that keeps this show pumping,
aren't they? But hey, guys, before we kick into it, Smith, we're all Smith guys in the for the Waka coming up next week, aren't we? We're all running the, or we're not all running the network. Two of us are running the network. Chris, I believe you're running the trace.
Yeah,
must be nice.
Couldn't help.
Must be nice.
Couldn't help myself. Couldn't keep.
Excellent.
I couldn't.
He was running it with baggies.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, I'm at a kilter, but it's a flex though.
Do you know what, though, Kerry? You're going to say you can't wear that XC lid with baggies, but you know who does?
Chris Vanderkolk. Nathan Rankin. There it is. That's all we needed to know.
Yeah, but he'll also wear it at an enduro.
Yeah.
Rock up an enduro with his XC helmet and his baggies and smoke.
I'll crush you.
I just had a new a black network arrive, and I got Rankin vibes from that one, actually. The black helmet. I felt like there was a bit of Rankin when I pulled that out of the box. So
yeah.
Shout out to him. I believe he probably has never even heard of this podcast, but that's all right. We'll inform him soon enough.
Can we do sorry to interrupt, Kerry, but can we do a line of merch that's just the OTB logo in Old English font across the back of a black T-shirt?
That would be maybe across the lower back.
Yeah, sorry, lower back. A niche reference, but
that would be a great reference. We'll have to have a look into that one. Also on board, troyledesigns.co.nz. You can save 15% on there by using OTB podcast at checkout. Fantastic helmets. My little dude Charlie actually just got himself a new Flowline helmet, a youth one. So he is pretty pumped on that one. And then new on board, last episode, Filthy Bike Wash. Absolutely brilliant stuff. You can save 15% on there as well with OTB15 at checkout. Filthy.net.nz to jump on there. Biodegradable, New Zealand made. Better than the pink stuff. That's all we need to say on that one at this point. But Chris mentioned the merch, and we've got a merch store. We've got OTB merch live, which is pretty exciting.
We're like Mr. Beast, but for mountain bike podcasts.
We're like Mr. Beast. Yeah, just like him.
Exactly the same. It only took basically all year, and then when I actually got around to it, it took about 15 minutes to get it live. So, we got it done. It only took all year to get there, but shout out to Supergrom as the first customer.
Of course it is.
Kerry, I realised that we missed an opportunity on the on the slogans or the taglines. We don't have
we've got time.
Very nice mug.
Whoa.
Oh,
Man, how did I miss that? Wow.
Can you make some edits to the store?
Yes. Constantly editing. We'll
You're
be
going to need that.
adding new merch all the time.
We're drop shipping, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. No, we're taking the easy way out of this one. Buy some merch, support the show, t-shirts, hats, enamel mug, caps. Yeah, get everything on there. So shout out to the merch store. The link is in our Instagram bio, so that's an easy way to find it. But what everyone's here to listen to is our obviously very expert and in-depth analysis of the World Cups. I mean, we're not there on the ground, but we watch some random shit online and we talk about it. So we bring the heat. We've got two to talk about this week. So there's a fair bit has gone on in those couple of rounds. My first highlight from Snowshoe was that the team manager TV was back with the managers in the keyhole at the end.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it was at the first round and it was at round 7. So
And it
good to see.
Was it not in any others?
It was
I
right
don't think
during
so.
key moments as well. Like key moments on track, and they just cut to the manager.
Yeah, it's great. I really don't know why they put that in there, but
I'm most disappointed. Like, this was an opportunity with obviously, skipping to the last 2 rounds. Ethan Craig's been fantastic, right?
Outstanding.
Where was Horse? Like,
Yeah.
why couldn't he be standing there with just a big old cheeser going on? Like,
You know what? I'm pretty sure
would've been
Horse
ideal.
was at the start gate at Mont Saint Anne. I'm pretty sure I
Was
saw a
he?
snippet of Horse as Craig left the start hut. So he was there.
I thought we had intel that Horse was in the team truck watching videos from.
He was.
That might have been my highlight. Snowy, team mechanic, who we just did a podcast with, sends me and Red Dog a video, and it was Mont Saint Anne, wasn't it? And
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
qualifying, and the team is sitting around watching qualifying live, and Horse is over by himself in the corner watching. Was it like Champery 2012 Dirt TV or something?
No, it was like Dirt TV 2012. He's like, I think it was St. Anne qualifying. It was
Yes.
same thing, but 10 years ago.
Oh, that's our guy. That's why we love
It
him.
works. It works.
Oh man, but we all saw Ireland going 1-2 at some point this season, right? Like, I mean, it made no, like, it wasn't even a question. It was a no-brainer that we'd have an Irish 1-2.
Maybe at the Rugby World
It
Cup,
seemed like
but not
it
here.
was going to be a result from one of them, but you never would have called a 1-2.
I did not see that coming at all. So,
Like, Ronan Dunn's been there or thereabouts,
He's been-
away. Like, he's been real legit. And I think from memory, he was really good at Snowshoe last year as well.
good
But
chance of it.
Ocean O'Callaghan, and correct me if I pronounce his name wrong, because I have.
That's right. We butcher everything on this show.
Like, that was as breakout rides come.
But it was
Really?
it was also legit because he didn't just have a blinder in his race run. Like he had a good quality.
No, he was
semi
solid.
race run.
Yeah,
Unreal.
very impressive. What a
Very,
way to
very
do it as
impressive.
well. Right around like contract time, just before the end of the season. It's a great way to be at the forefront of everyone's memory, like just as you're coming into the end of the season.
Yeah, like syndicate looking at breakups, you know.
I mean,
Here we
we'll
go.
get to that. We'll get to that.
But what I was stoked about it with that win was that we went to 7 winners over 7 World Cups. So,
Amazing.
but you kind of got through that one. I got through Snowshoe and I was like, there couldn't be someone, like, surely there had to be a repeat winner. I thought, like, Loris was probably the only person that I was like, this will be the guy, or maybe, actually, no, did Finn win a World Cup this season? I can't remember.
Not this year, did he?
No. So it's kind of like those two guys, like Finn or Loris had to be the guys that would potentially, keep that streak of no single repeat winners going. But obviously that was broken at Mont Saint Anne, and we did have one single repeat winner. But
Loris has had a weird year, eh? Like, he's there. Like, he's basically 2, 3, 4 every time.
yeah.
Actually, I wonder what his results have been all year. And yet, you think one of these times he'll get that win, and he just hasn't.
He's been super consistent because he was still in the running for the overall. He was right there.
So one of the things I think that, and we've got to talk about this as armchair experts, but this season has effectively had 30% more racing, right? And not 30% more points on offer, but the points are being spread across more races because you've got the addition of semis. And I think one of the things that potentially creates is a situation where, like, you could have someone ride at 95% all season, play it just a little bit safe, be consistent enough to always be in that top kind of 5, and they'd walk away with it because there's such a big spread of points. And so, like, it rewards consistency in a way that, last season probably wouldn't have. Which, one, that surprises me that that Brosnan didn't just win the whole thing. But
he's the guy that you would think could come through with that consistency.
Yeah.
The smart guys, are they going, well, I don't need to go ham every single run. Loick's wrapped it up, and he's had way less of a dominant season than he has in the past.
Way less.
Everyone's kind of had one pretty bad race. They've all had a weird race where they've kind of scored quite low. Loick's had one. Jackson had one or two. Loris, same. Finn, same. Everyone's kind of had a bit of a shit race. So you'd think if there was someone who could have actually stayed consistently through that whole thing, man, there could have been a really big winner from consistency.
Which, it surprises me that wasn't really the case this year. But, I suppose everyone's dealing with a whole new way of doing it, right? And from everything that we've heard, it's a fucking busy couple of days once you get into quali, semi, and then racing.
Yeah, doing 3. I mean, it seems like it's only the addition of one extra run, but you've got 3 high pressure runs now. 3 runs where you can't screw up, and they're all pretty valuable in terms of points. So there's a lot going on.
Because if you're a guy who wants to make his mark on a weekend, you can come into it going, right, first job, qualify. Right, cool, done that. Second job, go ham and semis. Cool, done that. Third job, just put it all on the line. But if you're a guy that's trying to win the overall, you go, okay, assume I'm qualifying, assume I'm in the finals, right, bank a top 5. Because I've got the points I need. And it would take 2 guys or a couple of guys duking it out every weekend for the top spot in every race before you'd get that that pointy end of racing that we've had in the last couple of years. Anyway.
Do you think the addition of a semi-final has meant more opportunity for a tight points race?
I think this season has been closer than... I mean, I'd have to go back and actually look through the points, but I feel like this season seems like it's been closer. It came down to 4 guys at the last round.
I think...
Yeah, and I think it was 60 points, wasn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Jackson has got it.
It creates more mathematical possibilities, right?
Mm.
Because of course it does, because you've got the spread of all the points all the points being spread over more variables or more different events. And so... that's going to happen. At MSA, 4 guys could have won, depending on a whole bunch of different circumstances, and they were all possible. I think Loick had to crash and be outside of the top 20, and therefore wouldn't have gotten any points or something. And if that had happened, then I think Jackson just had to finish in the top 10 or something. All 4 of those guys could have won under certain circumstances. So it definitely creates, mathematically, it creates tighter racing. But
I think that's the whole idea, bring some more drama to it, bring some more excitement.
But that creates pressure too. That means those any one of those four guys, if they have a mathematical chance, that starts to dictate how they ride. So, like, Loic, does he put it on the line or does he run it in safe versus and risk something happening? Or
I also don't feel like you can do like a safe run.
Well, and that's the thing that's kind of like that's where it's going to get really interesting if they stick with this sort of model or they have essentially more mathematical variables. Can't believe we're talking about maths on this podcast, but we are. I don't think there's anyone yet who has got the whole ride it at 95% predictably thing dialed. Like,
nah,
like every time they talk about someone going, oh, well, he doesn't need to take the win, he only needs to take a top 5. It's always, oh, well, they're either going all in or they're out the arse or they're crashing because they're not focused. Like,
I bet if one of those guys
for that, right? Like,
yeah, like if one of those top 5 guys who has a chance of winning, say Loic, if he went in and was like, okay, I'm doing a 90% run because I think that should get me in the top 5, he's probably going to be like 15th because he's going to ride cautiously.
But also,
would you de-risk a section like MSA, that rock garden? Would you?
I don't think
would you just be in?
I think it ruins the flow of your run. Like if you try to slow down for one piece of track and then get your speed back up, like it's pretty weird. Like if you stop on a trail and then you get rolling again, like it takes you a little bit to get going again.
But also,
that's true.
Like if you look at how tight some of these races are at the moment, there's like a couple of seconds between first and 15th on some occasions. Like it's
4.5 between first and second at Mont Saint Anne.
Yeah, well, that's different.
Yeah,
new Jesus on a bike, according to
Jesus on a down bike, part 2.
No, say. So it's like it's so tight. So like if you're going to go, okay, cool, I'm going to ride the whole track at 95%. That means like backing it off just the smallest amount across the whole course, like to go like a second slower across like a 3.5 minute run would almost be as hard as going a second faster to control it,
Yeah, for sure. And you'd be trying to control it and probably slowing down too much. And that's, you end up 15th instead of 5th. Do you guys reckon that this season was any better under the new format or was there any sort of improvement?
So can we just get this, that we're all watching this shit from the other side of the world on TVs? Because I was listening.
Well, that's what I kind of mean from a fan's point of view in terms of watching it from afar. Like, do you think there was any improvement this year? Like, we had to pay to watch racing.
I think this year it felt like it was the same thing with some cosmetic changes.
Yeah.
I think that next year, if they stick to largely the same format and maybe continue on the path that it looks like they're going, it's going to feel quite different. Like this year was like a transitional year, right? Like there's all this chat about narrowing the field to be just the elites, like what are they going to do with the privateers? And all we kind of, like everything you heard about this year was that, well, it sucks for privateers, but they're still there. There's still guys that are trying to find pit locations and everything, but it sucked for them. Next year, if they go that step further that it sounds like they're kind of doing, where they just marginalise them completely and go, well, there is no privateer pits, or they're not important. I think that's when you'll start to see the differences become way more obvious.
Rumour has it there's still privateers trying to get back to the pits in Andorra. They're still making their way there. I agree.
I'm a little bit like, I'm probably like you, Kerry, or Chris. I think we're all the same. We're such big fans of the sport that would take a lot for us to detract from the experience. And I see people being like, get rid of semis, or no, I'm not paying for the coverage. That's ridiculous. It's like, the $70, whatever it costs me to watch the series. Like, I'm a huge fan, and I kind of accept that what we were getting from Red Bull was probably on the back of them selling a crapload of energy drinks to people, and we were getting a bloody good deal, to be fair. But I'm not like this. All the changes, like as a fan on the other side of the world, I don't really have a problem with it.
No, so
No.
if you take the cosmetic changes that as a fan you really experience, like so, the coverage and the commentary are the two really stand out.
Yeah.
The commentary
Yeah.
improved massively over the course of the season, and I think they did two things well. One, Cedric obviously got some kind of training on just calming the fuck down. But then they like the way they brought like guys in,
Gwen,
like Gwen
Miriam.
was amazing. Like
Oh, he was
I hope he
fantastic.
stays around with this stuff because he was such a good balance between those two guys, and they seemed like they made three commentators work, which we
Somehow.
do that.
There was, yeah,
We don't
like,
do it.
Yeah,
nah, I definitely think Gwyn was a huge improvement in there as well. But yeah, like format, I'm down with the qualifying and the semis and the final. I don't have any issue with that. I barely watched any of the semis because it's just too much to watch. But I was still pretty interested to see who could pull through from finals, or from qualifying to semis. Like obviously that's a big step again, and like who was stepping up. Like I was pretty interested to see all that stuff. Coverage.
Chris, as a marketer, does the semi, say you just said it before, you get 30% more? I get to see, like Bruni, 30% more in a weekend.
Well, so I was thinking about
this. Is it worth more?
I was thinking about this the other day, and I'll see if I can articulate this clearly because I probably can't. But
here we go.
Okay,
ski racing analogy.
Ski racing analogy and cloud.
Oh no, I'm moving on from ski racing.
SEOs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you think about like what the value is, like where the revenue and where the money kind of flows in this business, right? And why Discovery is buying it and all the rest of it. Okay, so I'm a sponsor of a team, right? I'm a brand or whatever else. And the Red Bull program, my sponsorship dollars of that team probably went further because I was getting more visibility because there were more eyeballs on the free product, right?
Yeah.
So as an external sponsor of a team, as opposed to like a sponsor of the series, I think I'd be questioning whether or not there's more value for me, because then I'm relying on the multiplier of my team being seen twice, but still being seen twice by only the same audience. So the three of us saw Loris twice rather than six of us seeing Loris once, right? So purely from a brand exposure perspective, it's like there's more exposure, technically speaking, under the Red Bull model, and it looks like the numbers are like vastly different between the viewer numbers of Red Bull and the viewer numbers this year because people are paying for it or have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Then what a sponsor is relying on as a sponsor of a team or a rider is the media that surrounds the whole thing. And I think that's also part of the transition bit is like, so really it's just Pink Bike covering this and Vital doing some kind of like on the ground type community stuff. But the sport isn't at the point where the profile is big enough for it to be covered by anyone outside of the real niche media. So if you ask from a marketing perspective, I think in theory I would say that what's being done this year is not ideal. However, if you roll it forward a bit and go, okay, the idea of this is that they get the guys that are in that top 60 or like that top 30, their profiles grow, and theoretically the pointy end of the sport gets pointier and gets more visibility, then being a sponsor of one of those top 60 guys will become more lucrative because hopefully Discovery can do more with the brand of downhill mountain biking, so they can take it beyond just the race day weekends and they can turn it into, I guarantee you one of the things they'll have on the radar is, can we turn this into a
Netflix doco?
Yeah, exactly, because there is enough drama in the sport and there's enough personalities that the sport would provide a good platform for it.
This season would have been great for it.
And
round one, this kid wins his first Elite World Cup at his first try.
Totally, and like the irony of it is that like back in the day with Dirt TV, when the internet owned mountain biking, right? Like it wasn't a mainstream sport yet. Like Dirt TV was fucking awesome because they gave you like this weekly update, and then even you go before that and you look at the way that all the DVDs were done, like the way Earth was done, is like it was a recap of the season. So the sport's a really good platform for doing that. And I think for this thing to be successful and these changes to be successful, the idea would be that top 60 guys or top 30 guys get way more profile beyond just the race day or the race weekend, and Discovery be the vehicle to do that. But I think at the moment, like in the short term, it's probably not ideal because just raw eyeballs just aren't as big.
Yeah. I'd like to see... I still feel like the race broadcast is too long. I'm still kind of like, man, this is a lot to get in. I mean, the last 2 rounds were pretty easy for us in New Zealand because the timing worked out great. Could watch them in the morning. You know, downhill started at like 7 a.m., 7:30, something for the men's. I think it was like 6:30 or something for the women. So it was pretty easy to watch. But even I'm like, man, I don't know, cut it down to, let's see the top 15 live. And for the half an hour before that, give me a highlights package of what's gone on.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Like, I've thought the same thing throughout the year, but that's going more in that direction of marginalising all the rest of the guys, right? And so
I just want to see what's interesting.
100%. It's like what happens in that top 15. But then that also gets weird when you get one guy that comes out of nowhere, or maybe as a shitty qualifier, and he puts it on the hot seat and he stays in the hot seat to the last 10 riders.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I would have hated the semi-finals format when I was racing because I got so many like 33rds, 34ths, 35ths. I would have been the person that was just outside of it all the time, and I would have been so dirty.
What do you reckon would happen if say there was a group of protected riders who had like a fixed start order on race day? So like if you took all the variables out of like qualifying for the wet or whatever else, and you said, okay, well, these guys, based on whatever criteria, are always going to start in the same order. Therefore, they're always racing the same conditions, you know, with some exceptions where it starts raining in the last 5 riders or whatever. But and like fans of the sport go, sweet, I'm tuning in because I'm going to see this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy.
Yeah.
I know what's happening. Like,
so we're talking like say the top 10 overall always goes from 10th to 1st at every race or something like that.
Yeah, and like they could do that in like say the first round, they do it based on the previous year.
Yeah.
It's like taking the protected thing and going a guaranteed start order.
Yeah,
Does it change with every week though? Or is it the same all year?
Loic's going last every round.
You know, you get into the Alex Fail conundrum there where the guy gets off, is off, and you end up with this dude in the top 10 that's always there that isn't performing.
I think you'd have to update it, but then I guess you're just turning that into just seeding order.
That's kind of what they do already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, my favourite part about the Mont Saint Anne weekend was seeing everyone's stories from the go-kart track. That is the best go-kart track ever at Mont Saint Anne.
I never went to the go-kart track.
You never went to the go-karts? Oh my God.
I went with you. You didn't invite me.
The best memory I've
maybe
ever
sleep
had.
on a bike box.
Yeah,
though.
you were probably trying to build your bike box bed at that point.
Yeah, arsehole.
The best thing I've ever seen, so the go-kart track has like the building beside it and there's kind of like an upstairs balcony. And we're up there and Rennie and Kavarik are just absolutely steamed. Like this is like the day before practice or something, like in the afternoon or the evening, and they are hammered. And I'm pretty sure it was Kavarik just buries himself in the go-kart under a tyre wall. Like he just hits a tyre wall. And he gets out and he starts like basically trying to drag it out. You could tell he's steamed. And the guy from the go-karts just is like, whoa, 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 whoa. You think like he's going to take him away? He just waves him over and puts him in a new go-kart, sends him out again.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Quebec is awesome.
Yeah, it was so loose. We were there, it might have been the same year, and it was pouring with rain, and we're out there. And the owner's kid, who was like, I don't know, probably about 10 years old, was out there with us, and he was just crashing us constantly. Like, you'd come down a straight, and he would just punt you off the corner. Like, he was just deliberately out there to just take everyone off the track. And like most go-kart places, you wait, like if you crash or whatever, you kind of wait for someone to come help you. And you're just standing, you're like sitting there and you're like, oh, no one's coming. You're just on the track, like trying to drag your go-kart back out. And we were jumping.
So good.
We were jumping off the candy cane, like off the side of the track, out through dirt, and then back into the track, just like missing corners. And they did not care. It was the best. They were pretty fast too.
It was like the Luge Queenstown.
Yeah, it was basically like the go-kart version of the
Do what
Luge.
you want. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I brought back some great memories watching that stuff.
Hey, Kerry, or Red Dog, have you been to Snowshoe?
No, I've never been to Snowshoe.
Nah. East Coast though.
I love
Go good
some
on
East
the
Coast.
Yeah, even though Kerry cheated that time.
Kerry cut the tape.
There was no tape.
I rewatched the video many years later and I don't actually know what I'm talking about.
I did win the Pennsylvania State Downhill Championship though that day.
Damn right you did. It paid out too, eh?
$250.
Yeah.
Bloody-
Yeah.
Those lights.
You almost
Yeah.
got paid as much as what Bernie got paid last weekend. he got like $450.
Yes.
Vital has like a real good recording where they interviewed everyone and pretty much asked them what they thought the state of the sport was.
Yeah.
Like, the same conversation we just had. It's like you listen to Bernie and Loic because they're probably the two like the most outspoken and probably the most like maybe influential or the biggest name at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny listening to it because they're kind of opposite ends of the spectrum on it. Like Bernie's just fucked off about the whole thing, and Loic's like, I think it's pretty good. Like I think he.
Loic still gone home with like $500,000 this season.
Loic called the privateers gypsies.
Yeah. Him and Vergier
Yes.
are getting some heat, eh? Because Vergier said Snowshoe sucked pretty much. He said the track sucked.
That's so good.
And now Loic's going on about how it's all good. Like, yeah, people aren't happy about the mate.
So good.
I love Loris. He always comes out with some random shit like that.
Yeah.
So good. It looked
that's amazing.
Snowshoe looked like a weird track. It must be a horrible track to try and ride.
That
I
is
think he just said it was like a bit flat.
That is
And-
classic East Coast though, like kind of flat and like slippery rocks, and you have to carry your speed, and like it
It's
just
like
is.
Dirt 105.
It's just quintessential East Coast, hella East
Yeah.
Coast.
The original like Wyndham track, no, the non-World Cup one's like that. Like it
Yeah.
flattens off heaps, and you just got to be pinned.
I
Make
tell you
it
what,
work.
there was one track where a big chunk of the women's field looked like it did not do justice to the women's field because I think it was that one section in the second split maybe or the end of the first split where it's pretty flat and they were all tucking through it in the trees and they just like most of the women's field just weren't carrying enough speed to kind of to be ripping it, so they were tucking it to kind of just carry speed and maintain.
Yeah,
And you're sort of watching it going, if I didn't know the sport and I tuned in, I'd be like, what are these people doing?
yeah, yeah. What the fuck is going on here? Oh man, the Specialized demo broke cover. Exciting? Not exciting?
No, because there's no shock in it. Like everyone knows that the fun shit on that bike is the shock.
Yeah, there's a couple of pictures with a shock, but you can tell those are just like some
Nah.
standard Olins in there. But yeah, clearly that cover has been hiding something special, not just the linkage.
Well,
Yeah, it's more lights.
the
There's more
linkage,
lights under there.
the linkage is under the bottom bracket, and the bulk of the cover is like above the shock.
Was up the top. Yeah.
Something going on there.
I don't know. There's just Loic's got a little gypsy in there, just running the tunes.
It's just peddling.
Yeah.
Just a tiny
Do you
little
think-
one.
Do you think that was because I think Vital or Lawler broke the cover of it? Like
Yeah.
got the photos. Do you think that was orchestrated?
Oh, yeah, because then it was just like there's a few shots where it's just right out by the edge of the pits, like in a work
Yeah.
stand, and like, yeah, that was 100%.
I don't reckon
And
he's too well known to like just be like screw you, Specialized, I'm getting a photo.
Specialized is a marketing company that sells bikes. They
I'm pretty sure he did the filming for them. For
Oh,
a while,
fucking
didn't he? Or him and Clay Porter
Yeah.
did or something.
It's 4 in my shit.
You've been influenced.
I've been influenced. Hey, but I feel like just going off piste quickly, Kerry, you'll be glad to know that pretty much all of my riding these days is being done in a double the fun shirt.
Yeah, brilliant.
Like
That's what we want.
turned up at the trail today, and anyone there would have thought that I was the Bosch rep. But hey, KB's here. We're going on a Specialized.
Market research.
Going slow.
Speaking of Specialized, well, it ties in with Specialized. The Whoop heart rate data that's been massively incorrect all season.
Yeah.
I noticed during Finn's run it actually said 183, and I was like, wow, that is the most accurate looking heart rate I've seen the whole time. But then during Bruni's run, it's 155, and Gwyn starts laughing at it, and he goes, "There's no way that dude's doing 155, man!" Like
he goes, "If he is, I quit now."
Yeah, I was like, "This is so good." I was like, "Gwyn's finally someone's called it out."
Brosnan did earlier in the year. He said he called them out on social media.
Brosnan took the piss out of it on Instagram.
It's a cool idea, but it's also it's one of those things that in principle and in concept it would be interesting, but in reality it's really not, because what I think that if you didn't know what was going on, you might see it's like, oh, the heart rate spiked because he went through a scary section. No, he's just tapped. He's on the limit. Yeah, 3 minutes.
Joe Public doesn't know what a high heart rate is anyway.
No. For those who are enthusiasts or are used to heart rate data, they'd look at it and go holy shit, he's sitting at 183 for the whole run. But when you only see a snippet of it and it's generally always wrong, you're like, oh, okay, righto.
You think 183 for 3 minutes is impressive. You wait till I said at 183 for 6 hours, Kerry, at the fucker next week.
I can't wait till they mic someone up. Put a live mic in a helmet for finals.
Imagine
who would you want?
Oh yeah, who would you pick if you could have anyone?
I don't know. You'd have to have someone who's
we go back in time and have Nathan Rennie. Just fuck.
You want someone questionable so they bring something interesting to it.
Yeah, that would be good.
I don't know. I can't think of anything. I can't think of anyone recent, current off the top of my head, though, on that one.
Emery would say something.
Yeah, if you're on, I'd say something.
For consumption.
You could have Loris on there, and all you'd hear is...
Yeah.
Because that's all you can hear from the cameras off the side of the track.
So wild you can hear that, eh? The camera's 70 metres away.
It's amazing.
Burrell does that as well.
It's wild.
I reckon...
I used to do it when I was racing enduro, but I think it was because I was blind so hard.
You just cooked.
I reckon T-Roy would just drop in and he'd just be he'd just have a mantra that he'd say over himself. He'd be like, yeah, boy, let's get it, all right, yeah. And he's just got Sam Hill just on loop, just...
It's just nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah, I could see him listening to that.
Just on loop.
Comes through it real good. He's like, nice, very nice.
Very nice.
He does something good, and then he gets looks pretty good in that bad boy. Bruni joined Minar and Petey as a 3-time overall winner in the history books. The only people that are ahead of those guys, and wildly, is Vulios and Gwyn, who are 5-time overall winners. That's massive.
Gwyn won 5.
Yeah.
5 titles. That's gnarly.
I reckon if you could go back through me and Red Dog's text to somewhere around 2013, there's probably a text somewhere where I say Gwyn will never win world champs, and I've stood by it, and it's over.
It's looking likely.
Yeah.
Well, you could go back to last year, and there's a text in our group chat that said Gwyn will never win another race. I feel real bad
it's still valid.
Because I really
valid
as a commentator.
I know he's great.
It'd be good
that's one of the biggest anomalies, though, eh? That he never won world champs because he was dominant for ages.
Oh yeah, and he would have those seasons where he'd win 5 rounds, and then something would go wrong at world champs.
I remember world champs at Leogang, he was a shoo-in to win.
Oh,
and then his brake went out or something.
Yeah, and one of those steep bits at the top, his brake just
it's just brake
backed it in.
Mechanic gets fired, eh? I know.
So weird.
I'll never get fired.
Yeah.
I was looking at this season, and I was like, man, this must be the most first-time winners ever in a season. I didn't get a chance to go back and look at it, but Jordan Williams, Jackson Goldstone, Oshina Callaghan, Andy Kolb, Benoit from Accounts, and then what did we have? Repeat winners was Loic,
Bryn-
and must have been another repeat winner in there somewhere.
The repeat winner.
Who are we forgetting?
Who have we forgot here?
Have you got Jackson on that list?
Yeah. Williams.
You don't have Laurie on the list.
Did Tebow Umbrella win? He did, eh?
Fuck. This is great journalism.
I reckon Tebow Umbrella won Andorra when it rained.
Yeah, he took the win.
Am I right?
Yeah. So that's the other repeat winner. But so that's what five first time winners. It's pretty impressive.
Hey, Tebow Umbrella's under the radar, or under the umbrella?
Under the umbrella. Didn't Rihanna sing a song about that?
Do you think other people call him Tebow Umbrella?
Probably people that listen to this shitty podcast too. We're only 40 minutes in and we're going way off. Like, we're already way sidetracked. But I was going to ask you guys who you thought the standout rider of the season was. Can be any class, anyone that you're like, man, they just broke through this season. I think Red Dog's got one, and I reckon me and him have got the same.
Have we got one?
Have you got someone that springs to mind?
Like a surprise?
Someone that broke through.
See, I think the person that you're going to say didn't break through, they just finally got there, and like slow and steady wins the race and they got there.
Are we thinking of a horses guy?
Oh, no.
Drake.
Is that who?
Yeah, that's where I was going. Craig.
Sorry, I thought
he is horse.
Andy Cole.
We're going to say, Andy. Yeah, so those guys were good, but I was very impressed with the way Craig rode towards the end of the season. Well, through the last half of the season.
Race.
Yeah,
he's got to be the hottest signing, like, because you'll get him for decent money, I suspect. He's got a lot of promise.
Rumor has it he's signed with Scott, and there's a new bike coming.
Goodness,
that's what the rumor mill's saying.
That's our team rumors, and I believe I haven't actually even seen that on the Vital team rumors, so we might be breaking ground on that one here. So
heard it here first.
Yeah, on the OTB podcast. Someone put that on Team Rumours, and please say where you went, because Pink Bike keeps screwing us out of being on their podcast roundup. So at least
I don't think they do the podcast roundup anymore.
Oh, it's because
I don't think they do it.
I protested it.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I
blame Brad.
Pink Bike's losing touch, though.
That's Brad's fault.
There was, to be fair, there was a lot of standout riders this season, but I think just the last couple of rounds for Craig, and also watching the difference between Craig and Jackson's run was... Craig was ready to murder himself.
He's dead if he washes that front off that Steve Smith drop. He's gone.
God.
He was...
like 2 or 3 moments like that as well.
He was literally like the ride it like you stole it. Mantra. Like, he was fucking going for it. And then you watch Jackson's run and you're like, man, he's real smooth, but real fast.
Yeah.
Jackson looked... He knew how to ride that track. Like, he knew where to push the bike and when not to.
Yeah.
Jackson is... So I was talking to someone about this the other day. I can't remember who. I don't think they were even remotely interested. But I reckon Jackson's a perfect physique for racing downhill now. Like, he's so light, but somehow he's, like, strong. He's like a nugget.
It's working for him.
Hung up on anything.
I think there's still pros and cons for different body shapes, eh? Or like sizes. Like your Brunies versus your Goldstones versus your
Menards, big and tall. Oh yeah, Benoit's big and tall. And...
Good to see a bit of body equality from your Red Dog. Thanks, mate.
It is, mate.
He's an equal opportunist.
And I was impressed. You look good. So, when you see me in Lycra this weekend, I hope you maintain that attitude about body positivity.
I will, mate. I bet you'll look great.
We're in a no judgment zone.
Fuck that, we are.
Depends. Honestly, for you, it's going to depend on whether you hit the full rack of ribs at Lone Star the night before.
The night before.
Or the Johnny Cash stash.
Or what is it, a 12 or a 9? Like, is it 12 ribs or 9 ribs? Is that what? Yeah. Is that your options?
It's a fair question, Red Dog.
Well, you're less of hold guy.
9 these days. Like, we're exercising a little bit of restraint, but
Yeah.
it depends if we're going before or after Fokker as well. 'cause
There's been
after
12s.
Fokker.
I've seen 12s happen.
Gabe, are you going to be around on Saturday night?
It's
Post
Sunday,
or
mate.
pre-race?
Sorry, on Sunday after the race.
Yeah, I will.
Are we going to Leinster?
Yes. It's the only way to celebrate. Or should we go to Valentine's, the buffet? Is that still there?
Oh, fuck.
Fuck,
Knowing our budget, it would have to be Valentine's, wouldn't it?
Is there an all-you-can-eat Pizza Hut still in Rotorua?
Nah, it turned into that nice
It's
cafe.
a really nice bistro that Byron demoed at his birthday.
We could have done the classic that has been done at many a downhill race, not by us, but go and eat for free at the all-you-can-eat Pizza Hut. And that used to be, that has been the classic move that I've seen so many people do.
That was a go-to for downhill.
They just all start wandering out, and then there's like one person at the end who's like, oh, fuck, and then they've got to somehow sneak out and do the run as well.
Oh, that's good
Not
stuff.
us. I always paid
Not us, though. We were good boys.
because it was cheap.
Getting back on track quickly.
That's no fun.
Yeah, no, it's boring.
Hey, Richie Rude got 17th at Mont Saint Anne. Just
I
FYI.
know.
Amazing.
I know. He's coming, bro. He's coming. Don't worry.
I hope the rumours of Yeti coming back to downhill racing next year come true, and we just see downhill Richie back.
Yeah, and they get Nathan Rennie back too.
Right,
DH
nice.
Dick.
I reckon he's won the Enduro series this year and gone, sweet, job done. We're back into downhill. I've done what I need to. That's
I hope
what's
so.
needed now. We're back in downhill.
I hope so.
I'm there for it.
What's his peak? Could he win? Could he podium? I could see him podium.
I can see him.
I can see him get a podium.
Yeah.
That would be probably a doable result.
Like, if you put him through the ringer, right? He's such
Rumor has it that Danny Hart is not going to be with Cube and doesn't have a deal. So that could be a change up.
Yeah, he's still really good, eh?
He
He's
is still
surprised
really
he
good.
if he didn't get like a legit deal.
Shit's going to be cut this year though. Like budgets are going to be tight going into next season.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
The bike industry is not in a great way right now. And
No.
and marketing is the first thing to go.
Yep.
It comes in waves, though, doesn't it? Because
yeah.
been through these cycles before.
It'll come and go, but there's going to be probably some interesting switch arounds, I think. coming up.
It's probably, on the one hand, the timing of this takeover is unfortunate because the industry's going to go through a lull. On the other hand, it's probably very good because it means that Downhill's got like a relatively safe home for the next couple of years while it goes through that. So whatever things look like in 2 years' time, whatever when teams start rebuilding, if they do kind of gut them this year, they'll have like a good platform to build from with Discovery.
Yeah, I mean, people forget that like it wasn't that long ago that we were on like Freecaster and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
It-
It's a
you
wild
forget
time.
so quickly, but I probably maybe just over 10 years ago.
But that's the thing that's really interesting about what's going on at the moment is that downhill during those days was like a real niche sport that probably was one of the first sports to make the most of the internet. Like
Yeah.
sport existed on the internet. It's like
Oh, everything.
forums, Pink Bike,
Orb,
yeah.
Oh,
fucking,
what a place.
Mountainbike.co.nz.
but then like
by
Freecast,
Sal.
right? Like no one
Shout
else,
out to the Kennett brothers.
Yeah.
not no one, but like you couldn't watch it anywhere else other than this kind of niche live broadcast thing that was pretty new at the time. And
Yeah, like it would have been on maybe I'm sure in Europe you could have watched it on like terrestrial TV to some extent.
Eurosport, I think it used to be on back in the
Probably
day.
had some coverage, but Freecaster was like your only way, and it by all accounts it was pretty ropey.
but it's like it seems like this current stage is so if what followed that was kind of like Red Bull's still relatively niche. Like Red Bull TV is pretty niche. Like most people don't sit down and watch Red Bull TV in the evenings. But it was kind of the next step on from that, right? Like it got a home,
Yeah.
it got funding, and it got support, and it got investment, and it also happened to come at a time where everything was growing. But this is like the next thing. It's like, okay, now they're trying to figure out if they can make it mainstream. And the industry,
Yeah.
the bike industry is big enough. Like everyone fucking has a bike, so it should work. It's just it'll take a while.
Yeah, it's not an overnight thing, eh?
Hey, so other team rumor that has been happening is that the MS Racing will no longer be riding Mondraker. Will still be around, and then Mondraker is going to have their own factory team. So, kind of interesting because while we see potentially some cuts, there's also new teams on the horizon too. So, I don't know what that'll mean. I have no idea, like what Brook and Tahoto and Toby Meeks deals are currently with MS, whether they're still under contract or what. Whether we'll see those guys still under that tent on new bikes or what. But another one to keep an eye out for.
It is interesting, isn't it? Because it's like for some of these brands that, having just said that the whole industry is going to go through a shitty period, but for some of these brands, the last couple of years will have been established because of that, and they'll still be making so much fucking money out of e-bikes. So, there will be bike companies out there that are actually in a really good place at the moment.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on how they've played the last year out as to whether they're sitting on a ton of stock or whether they've been smart about it. So
exactly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what floats around.
It'll also be interesting to see over time what sort of commercial relationships start to exist between Discovery and the brands themselves. Because you can guarantee that those big brands will start wanting to have some kind of sway and some kind of influence.
I wonder if it'll be like Supercross, where teams would come in with these outside sponsors, and like I remember when Reed had his Tutu Motorsports team, and he comes in with like Discount Tire, so he's got this kind of out of industry sponsor, non-endemic, and then like the next season, the promoters have pulled in Discount Tire to sponsor the series, so all of a sudden there's like, hey, you're someone new, come give us some money, and you're going to get all this coverage. So wait till we start seeing stuff like that happening.
That's what I mean. Like that's what would get kind of interesting. But for that to happen, like for a sponsor to come in from outside the sport and to throw enough money at it that it's worth it for them, the sport has to be big enough, and so there has to be a big audience for it. And there's still that kind of growing phase that has to happen, I think.
Yeah, it'll be super interesting to see what happens next year. I want to see more races outside of Europe. I thought these last two rounds were really good. Like the fans looked great. Like the change of tracks was really good. Like I just want to see a return to more races outside of what we see all the time in Europe.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I think that's for the sport to become a global sport and reach a global audience. It can't be so Euro.
Yeah. I want to see a return to like Japan. Like that World Cup always looked awesome. Like something Australia and New Zealand, somewhere down here.
But that gets into a whole other thing, right? So take Leger, where the crowds are fucking enormous, and there's a lot involved in hosting that event. I'd be really curious to know whether there is, at the end of the day, whether it washes up being of any benefit to Leger to have that race there.
Yeah.
If you look at like other sports that are similar in this regard, where they go to certain locations, there's a commercial incentive to host a race, right? So like you get ticket sales, you get hotels filled, you get whatever else.
Well, you always have like the local council usually pumping money into it
tourism
to help bring the people there. Yeah.
Like we know that with Crankworks here in New Zealand, and that's the irony of it, right? Like Crankworks kind of made that thing work, I guess, and you saw it here. And they've done it with the world champs. But so if you can charge ticket sales and you can make hosting a World Cup like a really, really like a lucrative thing to do, then you probably will see that happen over time. Because because then it becomes a thing of like, right, who can? Because obviously, Discovery would take a clip of that as well. Okay,
Yeah.
who can put the bid in for the next race? Like, is Canberra going to?
Yeah.
You know,
Fuck, I hope
Hope
not.
not.
yeah, Canberra sucks.
I do like that the out of Europe races tend to test the Europeans. Like they're a little bit outside their comfort zone, I feel. Like, and it probably reflects with like Loris's comments about Snowshoe and stuff. It's like this isn't the Alps.
No.
There's some, especially with like the east coast of America, which I think is a good thing that they're not on the west, because I think the west is probably a bit more similar. But
even like if you
it's
went
way
to,
different.
But then even like you go to West Coast, like say back to somewhere like Big Bear or something, and that shit's totally different again. Like that loose, pumicey, like sandy stuff, and
Think about those California ski resorts. That's a whole nother kettle of fish, right?
yeah. Yeah, and it just needs some variety. Man, even if they went to Leger and they raced a totally different track, like you can't tell me that they don't have somewhere else. The track in the mid-2000s was in a totally different spot to where it is in Leger now. Like, just switch it up. Build something new.
They also should be doing that for the sake of, like, the growth of the sport, right? So,
Yeah.
say, it seems to be like everyone acknowledges that there needs to be a feeder series, because that was talked about a whole bunch in this vital interview with the riders. And it sounds like that's something that, from below it, that Discovery is actually putting plans into place for.
So you can get rid of the gypsies.
Yeah, pretty much. Just kick them out.
Fucking pikeys.
It's a broadcasting banana peel there, guys. Let's just be careful. But like, if there was... Because if you had, say, 3 or 4 races in the US and Canada, and therefore there was like, enough going on that you could justify having a team truck or like a decent team set up based in North America, and then you could support junior riders with that at like other events that were running throughout that season, then suddenly you'd have like a North American season and a European season feeding into a World Cup season. The World Cup season is going to both. But at the moment, it's kind of like MSA and Snowshoe are kind of just tail end races at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That they go to with easy ups and make it work,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that's the kind of stuff that we might see happening a bit more with the new management and everything. But it's also the kind of stuff we thought was going to be happening with the EWS, and now the EWS is just back to being European. So
Yeah.
The EWS kind of sucks.
It's dead, isn't it?
Who was I talking to? Yeah, they did, because the draw card there was these places, and I think that it's twofold. I think that they got too big in terms of participation, and so they had to do something about the numbers, but actually the numbers is what was making these events probably sustainable. Like, I went to Chile and Argentina, and the numbers were low, but because anyone could go and enter, it didn't have this like points to enter and stuff. Then anyone kind of did go and enter, and it kind of made them destination events that anyone would go and participate in. And I think, they ballooned out when they were in Europe, and there's crap loads of riders, right? But in the same way, it sustained some of these smaller events that were actually really cool and gave that variety. So I think just pigeonholing it in Europe is kind of boring.
They also they also piggybacked on Crankworks events being run. So you're right. It was EWS races seem to have been so much more about the physical event and the location than anything else. So, if they can be part of a Crankworks, because they were part of Crankzilla, and then Rotorua, and they've done one in Austria as well, right? Have they done EWS?
Not sure.
And where?
Potentially.
At Innsbruck?
Innsbruck? I don't know if they have done one there.
They had the one between Slovenia and Austria. It's in Jamanica or something like that.
Yeah, but they would also they partner with events that were already on. So like the one in Zermatt a couple of years ago was that Zermatt Bike Festival had been running for a couple of years at that point, and so then they just kind of jumped on that bandwagon because the infrastructure is kind of already there. And we're traveling with the race, so like it's it's cool in that regard, but it doesn't make it attractive as a TV sport.
Nah, it's never going to work as a TV sport because it takes too long. It's too broad. Like, it just doesn't work. Like, it's just not.
Have you ever tried watching a WRC race?
No.
You can't. It's literally a highlights reel.
Yeah, it's always a highlights reel.
Helicopter footage. Hopefully they capture someone blowing a wheel off on a rock, and then some finish line footage.
AWS used to do a good job of that, though. And, to be honest, their wrap-ups aren't hugely different. I think they're just a bit stale. The events are a bit stale. The length of tracks is a bit stale. When they were going to these destinations or going, Crankzilla, massive, top of the world runs, a little bit more to talk around, where if it's just 4 or 5 minute descents that are in a bike park, it's a little bit less intriguing.
Speaking of which, we got the Mammoth Enduro, the Santa Cruz Mammoth Enduro in Nelson. The start of next year. If you want a big race, I don't have the full specifics of it, but it's going to be 2 days, and it's going to be 8 to 10 stages across the 2 days. Ooh. So survival.
To be XC guys now.
Yeah. So that'll be a good one. I'll be back in Enduro Guy back then when that's on. But I believe both of you may have a segment each for the show.
We don't need to.
Do you want to start? Have you got some questions or something?
I do, and we do need to start wrapping this up because I've got 10% battery here.
All right, you hit us with your questions, and then we're gonna go out with some power rankings. And this will make sure.
Hold on, give me a second. I'm just making my notes now. Just doing my research. I'm just pulling.
Are you just researching now?
Yeah.
Okay. Does the OTB have counsel? Have legal counsel?
Yeah.
Should we find one?
And they haven't approved it.
Yes, it's Tim McKenzie.
Oh, he's there. That's good.
Yeah.
We'll be
Send
fine.
any broadcasting campaigns to Tim McKenzie. Does he work better?
You got to contact him via the Shit Mountain Bikes page on Facebook.
Yeah, Shit Retro Old Mountain Bikes on Facebook. That is where you'll find him if you have any complaints.
Yeah. Or if you need him to find you, just try and sell an old bike.
Especially a GT. He'll be in there.
He'll hunt you out. Yeah.
All right, what do you got for
First question, Kerry. First question. Obviously, Valley, 2 for 2 overalls.
Yeah.
Who will be the next female rider to challenge her for a title?
Iris van Leuven.
Oh, that's who I was going to say. You reckon? You reckon she'll go? It'll be that long?
Probably Miriam, because I think we've kind of all forgotten about Miriam a little bit and how good she is.
She obviously hasn't featured this year.
If Miriam comes back 100% next season, she should be right in that fight, I reckon.
Yeah, I hope so because she's running away with it at the moment.
Yeah. This is kind of like the Ann Caro years.
Yeah. It is better. It's better racing when it's tighter at the top. Although she has had some good challenge this year, but I feel there's just that feeling that she could go on a run.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Say you have let's say you are. Oh, this one was for Moki. Let's say Quiet Chaos becomes the equipment or the clothing sponsor for a major team. What would you print down the leg of the pants?
Just Chaos? That'd be good.
Chaos with a K.
KAOS.
Does Moki need to change the brand name? He might.
I'd definitely print my name. So I'd do two things if Quiet Chaos was sponsoring a team. First of all, I'd get my name printed up the leg and across the shoulders. And then halfway through the season, I'd hire a child to design the ugliest fucking kid you've ever seen with a bright green helmet and make my riders wear it.
I don't know what's going on with It's unbelievable how bad some
Oh,
of them
bad.
Oh,
Kits this year got a little bit out of hand, right? Like
they got
all
out.
Santa Cruz kits were just all over the shop. The one that I think Jackson was wearing it at some point, and then Nina was wearing it at Snowshoe, and it was green.
Oh,
And
it was
yeah, it
gross.
was fucking rank. And then at some point as well, Minar was wearing camo. It's like,
Yeah,
get out of here!
he's not
Like,
a
give
camo
Minar like
guy.
a real slick, like, just make him look like he's wearing a triathlete suit or something. You know, like red. Minar should only wear red or chrome and black. Like that's it.
Yeah, just
Nothing
nice.
else.
Even though
Chrome and black.
the helmet was real gross, was O'Neill Minar a better look than Fox Minar?
Yes,
O'Neill
yes,
Minar.
100%.
No, so yes, but peak Minar was Alpine Stars Minar.
Alpine Stars,
Oh,
Minar, 100%
100%,
Minar.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
O'Neill Minar was like,
Actually, what about Azonic Minar when he was on Global?
Oh, it's team kit though, eh?
Yeah.
Team kit. Still better than the
as long,
Fox
as
Minar.
long, well, if we're talking
Nah, the Honda days were pretty tight with kit.
Yeah.
Petey
No fear,
Azonic
Minar?
was peak Azonic.
Oh,
Because if you had the blue shorts with the big plastic Azonic logo, which I know you did,
blue and
Terry.
orange,
Yeah.
blue and orange. The no those no fear pants, Red Dog, but they were like shorts, but they kind of just looked like shorts, and you were like wearing leg warmers on the bottoms of them.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah,
ones.
they were pretty sweet. Won a world title in No Fear.
Yeah.
Wow, on a skin suit. All right, Kerry, your next question. Obviously the World Cup comes to Kaka. You've trained all year. You've trained all year, and your word has got around that you're going pretty well. Now the syndicate comes knocking on your door, and they say, "Kerry, we're here. We're paying you for this race only, but all paid for, team kit, everything. But you got to fire one of the guys. We can't carry 4 riders. We can't carry four males. Who are you sacking?
Can I fire team personnel?
You personally have to fire them too.
And this is actually going to happen this year as well.
Yeah.
Well, strategically, what I would do would be to fire Jackson because he would be my biggest competition.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, good call.
Like,
Strategy.
I don't know. I think you've literally just cut your only asset at this point.
It's only for one race.
You've gone,
No.
I've got the whole team being carried by a child at this point, and I'm just going to kill him. I'm going to eat my child. I said it with you. Santa Cruz eats its children.
Jesus.
As the rot said.
Anytime they get a young, hopeful up-and-comer, just gets eaten. Except Jackson.
Eat the young.
I liked on the broadcast for Snowshoe, Jackson flattered, and like Cedric was losing his mind that he was like 9 seconds back or something. And I was like, just think back, Cedric. There was another syndicate rider who I'm pretty sure took a podium at Schladming on a rear flat, and that man's name is Nathan Rennie.
Yeah. Got a rear flat, not far in.
Yeah,
But
didn't care.
Good thing he was riding intense 4-ply tyres, and it didn't matter whether he had a tube or not in them.
And there's that footage of the things like obviously like off balance, and he's just got like a rudder out.
Yeah, it's just got a leg
So
hanging
good.
way out the side.
Word has it those intense tyres have been repurposed as inserts in a lot of the teams. Just like
They
right
absolutely
density.
could have been. You'd never get one in though. Oh.
Jesus.
All right, Chris. Kerry mentioned before, Lovick, 3 titles. Does he get a 4th?
Yes.
Oh,
Does
okay.
Finn make it?
Touch
No,
and go.
those two things are mutually exclusive. So
Is that part of the power rankings?
it depends. So
Contractually, he's not allowed to.
We've
right.
the power rankings. Lowick, he showed his true colours and how he referred to people as gypsies, but he's literally just pulling the strings. He's just up here, like he's playing Jordan off against Finn. Did
Loic have Jack course side, and when they saw how fast Finn was going in his race run at Mont Saint Anne, did he throw a banana peel onto the top of that rock slab?
No. So you know what's under
Mario Karted him.
those cases that we see all the time. So Finn doesn't.
It's got diesel squirters in it.
It's not for the public. It's for Finn. And we've seen the little button on Loick's bars. It's actually so that he can just lock out Finn's shock mid-run. So that the button on
It's got nothing to do with his
Loick's bars is connected to Finn's shock,
Bluetooth.
and he just
got big
blows
range.
Huge range.
And he's just pulling the strings.
I'd like to see some sort of like diesel squirter set up where it squirts a little bit of diesel on his front tyre. So when he gets hits the rocks, he washes out like Scalzi's DX Corolla.
Like Scalzi's DX Corolla.
Oh, that's a lot.
Squirters.
That's a lot of investment in being able to do a burnout. It's like hooking up like a little diesel squirter onto your wheel.
Yeah, I think you could. Yeah, I think you can thank Joel Daniels for that one.
The key was the squirter. You get like the one that squirts the back window, and you reroute that. So it's not too much investment.
The key was you clean it out properly, so when you reroute it, you don't spray diesel on your back window when you try to clean it. It's covered in dust from the Cardrona access road.
Yeah. Oh, yes. All right, Kerry, final question. This is my last question, actually.
Cool.
What's the better Malibu?
Ooh, so I had to listen to them both today. Can we throw Malibu rum in here too? Because I'm a big fan of a white rum.
You can throw
What's the better Malibu? Like what? The wakeboard boat or the booze?
Well, no, we're actually
No,
talking about the
no,
songs between Miley Cyrus or Hole. This is what me and Red Dog talk about during the day.
Fuck, I'm glad I'm not part of that group chat.
Oh, it's good, actually.
It's a bit of a three-way tie, really. It's hard to pick a winner out of
like that
Miley,
you've brought
Hole,
in
or
some-
Malibu rum.
I like you brought in a white spirit. Like,
Hey, well,
what are you
summer's
running that with?
coming up here in New Zealand. What's your preferred wakeboard boat? Malibu or Ski Nautique?
Whatever's been run down in Queenstown.
Yeah,
Whatever costs more than 300k.
Yeah, whatever the wake skates are on. No, I'm going to go Hole on Malibu.
Oh,
I decided
yeah, okay.
that Malibu from Celebrity Skin was the winner of today.
Yeah, no, okay, that's good. And not the white rum.
No, we'll save that for the weekend. That'll be the
Running that
winner
with
of the
like a
weekend.
pineapple juice or something.
Yes,
Or what do you-
absolutely.
Are you?
Yeah.
Jeez, it's like you go to a house party as a 15-year-old.
Drink a lot of pina coladas.
Jeez.
Yeah. Right, Chris.
Oh, well.
How's your research gone into this week's power rankings?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay.
There's some
You're happy
surprises in there.
You happy to proceed with your power rankings? Once again, this is all Chris's research. So from the Panama Papers, I believe.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We need a jingle for it.
The Panama Papers couldn't even go this far.
Oh wow!
I'll send it through for you to put on the and I've got a couple of documents actually to send through because we did an OIA request for the specialised team contracts, and we've got an OIA request for the financial structure of the wider pivot team. So most of it's redacted, but I'll send it through to you. It's quite good. Makes for good reading.
Would you say that it's still quite a fluid situation?
At pivot.
Well, whatever this week's power rankings is.
Yeah, look, let's just say that the power...
Yeah. Wow. Very interesting. I think we're going to need to have like I think we're going to need to get Chris to do like a team power ranking or like a rider power rankings of maybe we can try and work out who's like a free agent, and you can rank them in terms of their status and their who's going to get picked up first next time.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just waiting for us to get pulled off the air for the power rankings, to be honest. It is rapidly becoming the biggest risk to the podcast, so my apologies in advance, and I'll fall on my sword if I have to, but...
Yep. No, it's a liability, but people seem to enjoy it, so we'll keep going for now.
It's all done with love.
Yeah. Oh well, it's pretty late, and I think it's time we called this a show. But on that note, thanks again for some very, very in-depth power rankings there, Chris. That was excellent stuff. And Red Dog, thanks for joining. Well, I mean, I don't actually know what the future holds for the podcast right now. We definitely won't do a Rampage wrap-up because none of us are going to watch that.
No, it's not anymore.
So yeah.
Are we going to do a Fokker wrap-up?
A what wrap-up, sorry?
Fokker wrap-up?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That'll be our next episode. We have to have Lester on for that.
Live from Lone Star.
Chris may have to come in remotely from the course.
Yeah, we'll start the thing at 7 p.m. and I'll still be groveling around.
Yeah. Now we'll send you out with a phone and some headphones so you can jump in remotely if you need to. But
yeah, I'm carrying
it. Excellent. Thanks again, boys, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Hey up.
What's up?
I come
from the land of down on I can't hear you. What was that? I can't hear you. I let it be like John Lennon, the anti-serum that you don't get for poisonous venom. Read the label carefully, I'm only here for the show. I love hip-hop too much to let you feed my ego. In the key of F-U-C-K, Y-O-U. I mean, why do I owe you if you're not helping me through? I mean, why do I owe you if you're obstructing my view? Success is not my castle, just a house that's brand new. You see, I irrigate the culture, give it shape like a sculpture. Still complicated, rock like I'm supposed to be. L-I-T-Z like my DJ. Rock to the rhythm like you rock to what he plays.